Welcome back to the Nerdrotic channel. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am live in San Francisco, and this is STD Live. Welcome to STD Live. Star Trek Discovery has returned. There are some who are happy, there are some who are very sad, and there are some who are indifferent. Season 2 started out with, before we even get to that, I should probably let you know that we are going to be spoiling the crap out of this episode. You guys in the chat, everybody. That's why I say we. Thank you, Viking Bitch, for the spoiler paddle. Thank you very much. I will briefly recap the episode because I'm going to be doing a full review video later on tonight where I'll get into the weeds a little bit, but brief recap, and then I get to you guys in the chat. You are the co-hosts. Welcome to all the new subscribers. This is how we usually do TV. Same thing we did for Doctor Who, we're doing for Star Trek Discovery. We occasionally cover good shows on this channel as well. Yes, I'm going to spoil everybody. I will spoil you. Star Trek Discovery is back, and if any of you watched God, it's been a year. We had 300 subscribers when season 1 was around. It's a little different now. Add a couple zeros. That's awesome. It's great. I gave the show a chance. We covered every episode live right after it aired. It hasn't, my opinion has not changed on this show at all. As far as how good this episode was, I will say that it was probably the best episode of Star Trek Discovery that they put out, but that's not saying much. That's kind of like saying the best turd. So what the biggest problem I have with this before I even get into anything is Spock. I hate Michael Burnham's relationship to Spock. That is not anything I'm going to get over. The only way I could fully enjoy this show is if they had erased that from existence and started from scratch, and then maybe we can work from there. But until that happens, this episode didn't help that at all. I hated everything Spock related in this episode. It sucked. I couldn't stand it. And that was it. Now, were there good things? Anson Mount as Captain Pike, I would say he was okay. I like Anson Mount. I like him as an actor. Hell on Wheels is a great show. Inhumans sucked, but he didn't say anything. So I don't know. He just nodded a lot. But he was okay as Pike. Again, Rebecca Romaine Stamos. Rebecca Romaine. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry those kids broke up. I was really rooting for them. I'm a big fan of Rebecca Romaine, and nobody gives her lines in anything. She went through 3 X-Men movies and said 5 words. And she said about as many words in this episode as she said in 3 X-Men movies, but it wasn't much. So where do we begin? Okay, well, we begin where the episode left off last season, where the Enterprise showed up that looks nothing like the Enterprise. Well, it looks 25% different, and the uniforms and the color is 25% too. And I bet you if I went into Photoshop and I got the original yellow from Star Trek Discovery and I just, cranked it down 25%, it would probably come up the color that they have right now. For anybody who denies that this 25% thing doesn't exist, watch this episode again, please. Now, I don't know about the specs of the ship. I think I read somewhere where it's bigger. I'm not sure. I have no idea. But oh God, the Spock stuff pissed me off so much. So if anybody was thinking that they might not center stuff around Michael Burnham and they might focus a little more on Captain Pike and the rest of the crew, well, you're going to be disappointed because this is the Michael Burnham show. And nothing against Sonequa Martin Green personally as an actress whatsoever. I'm just talking about her in this role on this particular show. It's not a character I like very much. A character who lectures her captain in space. Can that be the new thing? I mean, this show has so many things. Sonar in space, ridiculous looking Klingons. This can be a new thing. Lecturing your captain in space. So we only got 2 Michael Burnham lectures this episode, but they were doozies. And that's I got to get to my notes here. And again, I'm going to go in the weeds on the review. So start out with got a voiceover by Michael Burnham that was written like horribly about, and they mentioned the Red Angel at first, and the Red Angel only appears to people whose hearts are open enough to receive it. So yeah, you have to be enlightened. So basically, Michael Burnham will be the only person who truly understands the Red Angel. My theory is it's Michael Burnham from the future visiting herself, telling her that she is awesome. We got some affirmation. God, how many Michael Burnham affirmations did we get this episode? I counted 5 or 6. It's kind of low. I think they've kind of toned it down a little bit. So we see kind of an American Beauty flashback scene. There's flowers dropping everywhere for no freaking reason in a flashback, and we see Michael Burnham meeting her, Sarek and God, I'm blanking on her and Mom for the first time, and she meets Spock, and of course Spock's a dick. He's a little dick. They say, "Oh, Michael Burnham's going to be staying with us," and he's kind of out of focus and up in the balcony, and he goes back into his room, and when they go meet each other for the first time, Spock is working on some digital program, and he flips up some pixels and creates some kind of serpent dragon beast to scare Michael Burnham, and then shuts the door on her when she puts her hand out to shake his hand. So at this point in the notes, I'm not supposed to cuss on this show, but I wrote, yeah, that's what I wrote. So sorry, my writing sucks. I know. It's about as good as my spelling. So basically Spock is he can't handle it, probably because he's a male. He's a male and he just can't handle stuff. So at the end of Star Trek Discovery Season 1, when we saw the Enterprise, I was kidding when I said, oh, well, Spock must be on that ship, and next season Michael Burnham will teach Spock how to be a better Vulcan, a better Spock. And that's exactly what we're going to get. I was kidding. So yeah. Okay, so then we pick up where we left off. The Enterprise has been damaged. It went to go visit one of the red lights or red. God, it's I'm sorry. I get a little triggered when we have anything red related to J.J. Abrams. I've said it before. The whole red matter. We had something like this in Alias. It was called the Rimbaldi device. Now it took a lot of forms, but it had a red form. I don't know if there was anything in Fringe like that, but of course there was the red matter from the 2009 Star Trek that destroyed Romulus. That one still hurts. That counts as canon, folks. How do you feel about that, Trekkies and Trekkers? Because I think it sucks. I think it totally sucks. So in my head canon, it doesn't exist. At this point, I want to plug a Picard video I'm going to be doing in the Picard show, probably in the next 5 days or so. I think I know what the show is going to be based on. So we've heard rumors, but I think I know. But that's a tease. That's what you call a tease. So the Enterprise is damaged. Pike comes aboard. Pike takes control of the ship. Everybody's a little wary, even though they're still Federation officers, nameless ones, by the way, and we'll get to that. They're still dealing with trust issues with a captain, because all captains are like Lorca now, because they had one bad captain. So yeah, they're still dealing with that. So Pike feels like he needs to be open with them, and that's fine. That was fine. And he ends up showing his record and very, the Anson Mount did an okay job. It was an okay job. If Michael Burnham didn't exist and the Spock stuff didn't exist, I could maybe watch a show with him in it. Don't be surprised. I heard a rumor. It was from another YouTuber, but don't be surprised if we hear rumors of a Spock and Pike spinoff. I don't think it'll happen. As a matter of fact, I don't think any of these shows are going to happen. But yeah. So we get they all introduce themselves. We get to see Stamets and Tilly. Tilly is typical Tilly, insecure and nervous. And if I'm ever on Starfleet and she's my captain, I will want off that ship immediately. Because everybody wants a nervous and insecure captain. And she's still in the command program. So we meet. They we find out what the mission is, and they need to go find out the source of these red. I guess they all appeared. It was God, I had the math here. It was 7 red bursts, 30 light years apart in synchronous order. So they think it's some form of signal. All the rest of there's one that's still there. They were able to track, so they're going to go after it. They can't use the Enterprise. The Enterprise is going to get towed away. Stamets is going to transfer off the ship and work at the Vulcan Science. He's going to be teaching at the Vulcan Science Academy. Again, I am not an expert Trekkie or Trekker. I am definitely a lifelong Star Trek fan. The Trekkies and Trekkers can answer this for me. Can anybody teach at the Vulcan Science Academy? I always found Vulcans to be a little, they're just nationalistic, we'll say. I don't know. So we'll see. But yeah, apparently it's okay. Starfleet is approved his transfer because everything reminds him of Hugh. He was using some technology connected to his head where he's able to see Hugh on a big hologram, which, again, they don't give a rat's ass about canon. In the Blu-ray special features review and all the interviews, they talk about, we care about canon. They're just cavalier about it. Those are just words or wind, to use Game of Thrones. They don't give a rat's ass about canon. They just say it out loud, so it'll make it sound like they tried. But if you watch the special features on the season 1 Blu-ray, which just don't, I did it for you, they give a lot of lip service to that. But what they always said was, well, yeah, we always consider canon, but then we came up with something cool and just kind of screw it. So whatever. So we find out that there is something going on with the relationship with Michael Burnham and Spock. And they don't speak to each other anymore. And it's been years since Eric or Michael Burnham had talked to them. And they don't care about canon, Sir or Gary. Yes, they don't. Sorry, I was reading the chat there. Okay, so they haven't seen Spock in years. We don't know why, and they start alluding to it. Basically, Michael Burnham is the reason. She's the reason she's the reason for the season. She's the reason for everything. She's the center of all attention. She's the reason that Spock had probably taken off. There's a conversation that basically Michael Burnham was supposed to teach Spock empathy. And it worked for a while and then it didn't. And it really alludes to like, I'm totally sensing something sexual between them. I mean, that's what I'm getting out of it. Like something happened and it might've been my fault. So Spock probably had a crush on her. And then, of course even though they're not related, they're still brother and sister. And it was a love that could not be. I have no idea, but that's what it sounded like. I don't know if anybody else could come up with something than that, but she did pawn far on Spock. KZ Bay, that's what so many people have been joking about. God, I heard Mead and Doomcock were both saying that, and I don't think they're far from the truth on that one. Ew, I know. It's very kind of a Woody Allen situation, maybe. I don't know. So she was supposed to teach Spock empathy. He learned it for a while and didn't, and that's it. So Sarek leaves. He's got to leave. He's going to go work with Starfleet, and they got to work some plan for these 7 bursts. They track down one of the bursts of energy, and they go out there, and it's in this stable asteroid that's headed towards a pulsar. And while they're scanning it, they find a crashed ship, the Hiawatha. So we get our what one of the if you guys saw my review, my video on the reviews, there's 3 reviews that came out in the last 2 weeks, all from CBS owned websites that gave these glowing reviews. Now, one of them in a paragraph, tried to point out some faults, but within those faults, there was compliments. So, I mean, there was complete 100% shill reviews. And one of them called it the best action scene in the history of the Star Trek television show. Now, while the special effects were great, they were magnificent. The camera was shaky, and it was just a bunch of asteroids flying in around everywhere. I don't know. I didn't think it was that great, to be honest with you. So they get in these pods, right? So they're getting these pods to go down to the asteroid because they can't beam down, of course. And of course, Michael Burnham was the test pilot for these pods, and she could handle 9 Gs for 11 seconds. 9 freaking G's. Now, maybe she was wearing some type of a suit, but still 9 G's. Just look up the science on that. I mean, yes, technically a human can survive that, but not many. Not many. So listen, I looked it up. I Googled that myself because I was like, what? 9? That seems like a lot. But that's how much probably the writers put into it too, how much I just put into it for the show. So they find the ship, they go down there, and they find an engineer, and I forgot her name right now, but I'll have it in my video. And yeah, they find the snarky lesbian comedian engineer, and she had kept some people alive after the ship crashed. Most of the crew got off, but the critical ones couldn't. So she used her amazing science to save everybody. And while they're down there, they're able to beam back because they weren't able to beam down, but Michael Burnham figures out a way to beam back. Oh, by the way, before they crash down there, there's a Lieutenant Connolly who was the guy who got spit on in the elevator. And yeah, I skipped that scene because everybody's seen it. Yes, it's Star Trek Discoveryville. They really tried to put in the humor. It was awful. It was freaking terrible. So this Lieutenant Connolly, who I thought was going to be the butt of jokes for the entire season, he was a science officer, right? Did I get that right? He was a science officer. He was the biggest I can't cuss. He was a dipwad. He was a dipwad. And while they're flying through this asteroid field, they keep looking at each other to talk to each other on their communicator. So like when they're flying kind of in tandem in the asteroid, with broken up asteroids, and they're looking at each other while they talk. Well, he's sassy, he doesn't believe Michael Burnham's science for the pods. He's all, I was better than my roommate or whatever the hell he says. And of course he dies because he didn't listen to Michael Burnham. So everybody listen to Michael Burnham or you're going to die. So before they crash, Pike's pod gets broken up, and he orders Michael Burnham to go ahead. We've already lost one officer. And she pulls up under him, looks up at him while they're flying through the asteroid field and goes, "You need to learn to trust us. Okay. Okay. You need to learn to trust us." And that was the second time she lectured him. She lectured Pike earlier when he was trying to give some commands, and she just popped off, like, "You can't do this. You can't do that." And he's all, I don't mind you interrupting, but I need solutions. And she's all, "I was going to give you one until you interrupted me." And I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be fun. That's such a likable character who thinks, listen, you know what? It's okay to correct people once in a while, but that type of person who always like corrects you, like, like if you're at the dinner table, you're eating with the wrong fork, that kind of person. It's like, fuck off, come on, get out of here. So they save, yeah, and there's a really intense scene where Michael Burnham, of course, saves Pike in space. They get in their spacesuits. They both eject from their pods with asteroids flying around, and Michael Burnham saves him. And I never thought for one second they were going to make it. And they were trying to get some specs with the Helms women who are on the ship, and Michael Burnham's all, "We got this, right?" And of course, both Helms women went, "Oh," and that was supposed to be like a really funny scene, and it wasn't. Oh yeah. So they save the engineer. They go back to the ship. Everybody's okay now. And then we find Pike and Michael Burnham talk about Spock, and she tells Pike that I'm the reason Spock and I don't have a relationship. We don't find what it is. So she says she wants to go to the Enterprise. Also, by the way, that asteroid does something weird to the spores. The spores start getting all active around the asteroid. Tilly asked Michael Burnham to bring back a sample. When she tried to bring it back, it wouldn't transport up. Don't know why, don't care. But they mentioned tardigrade. They said tardigrade, so they referred to it. So Anas Abdeen, I'm going to say I think you get a piece of this episode too, buddy. I think you do. I'm going to back you on this one. Okay. I saw it. I heard it. Everybody, hashtag Anas Abdeen or whatever, support Anas. Yeah. If you're not aware, this show might have been stolen from a video game by our good friend Anas Abdeen. Anas Abdeen. You can find him on Twitter. Good man. And he is currently suing CBS. And yeah, I hope he wins. I hope he wins. So everything you see could belong to somebody else. So the good news out of this is, if some of my money for this prescription, it feels like a prescription, subscription goes to Anas Abdeen, I'm actually really good with that. I am totally okay with that. All right. So she goes on the Enterprise and she goes to Spock's room to kind of figure out what's going on. And she listens to his last message. And then she somehow just figures out from the scene, the flashback scene in the beginning of the episode when Spock was playing with his little screen and he lifted up all the graphics and the pixels to make the giant serpent monster. She decides to do the same thing because, you know, she remembered something from 30 years ago. Exactly. And, you know, and of course Spock would figure that out. So she does the same thing. And the 7 points of red light are up there. Now, also, I forgot this part. Michael Burnham, when she transported Pike away, she got left behind. That's where she saw the Red Angel. You saw that in the trailer. The Red Angel is obviously a female form of some kind. And then Pike beamed down right through it to get her. And that's how she got saved. So Spock is on the hunt for the Red Angel as well. And we find out that it's been haunting him all his life. Spock has nightmares. He's living in fear. And that's what Star Trek Discovery is, living in fear. No, Star Trek Discovery is the show that wants to have dessert first. It is definitely like millennial Star Trek all the way. They go to the mirror universe in the first season. They do emotional Spock the first time you meet him. You know, emotional Spock is supposed to be something special, supposed to be something you don't see very often. And the fact that we have Alex Kurtzman and crew wanting to fill in all the blanks where they really don't need to be filled in at all, ever. And these are the wrong people to be doing this. It fills me with dread, with absolute dread. So while this was the best episode of Star Trek Discovery of its entire season, it still sucked. And yeah, we're going to get more of the same. We're getting more lectures. It's going to be lots of fun. I guess somebody got a memo in entertainment that it's okay to have somebody lecture an audience. You want to talk about a stereotype. You know, you want to avoid stereotypes as much as possible. And, you know, I don't make up the stereotype rules. I will just point one out. I'm not saying it's a good one, but having a female lecture somebody all the time, it's not the greatest stereotype in the world. Okay. And listen, men lecture just as much and if not more, but I'm just saying if they do it, you know, 3 or 4 times an episode, it gets annoying, especially when it's not a likable character. And that's simply what Michael Burnham is. She's not a likable character. So let's get to the chat. How you guys doing? And, you know, I'm sure some people enjoyed this episode. There's some people who enjoy this show. This is, I don't, but it's not a judgment on you at all. And I ask you not to judge me for not liking it. But if you like it, that's cool. That's fine. If you're just a casual fan, that's fine. Things that were good. You know, I like the look of the outside of the ships. Some of the spacesuits were pretty cool looking. Yeah, but it just feels like JJ Trek. It is JJ Trek. Even when they were in that crash ship and it looked like they filmed it inside of a, like some form of a factory or something like that. It's just JJ Trek all the way. Why? Well, they have all the JJ people for special effects, all the bad robot people who worked with them on the movies working on these. So there's definitely if this was in the Kelvin timeline, I wouldn't have a beef, but this is prime canon. And they say they're going to answer all this, but I don't know how you get around Spock never mentioning Michael Burnham when they apparently had a really deep relationship and something very bad happened. Um, that somebody that would come up in conversation between Kirk and Spock at some point. They were very close. And the other thing is like smiling Sarek. He's always smiling. This is like the JJ Vulcans are not my favorite thing. They're way too emotional and yeah. All right. They want to make Star Trek like the Avengers or Guardians of the Galaxy and more to the extreme, man. Extreme. Yes. Marvel, Dick I can't. Marvel. I'll just say Marvel. We're good. What's up, Chris Persia? How are you? Yes, little Spock had a correct attitude, just like Mikey Spock. You got me there. You're right. He knows better. Langley M. Neely, how are you, my friend? Langley M. Neely, folks, in here in the chat, correctly predicted pretty much every plot point of Star Trek Discovery Season 1 episodes before it happened. It's almost like he was in the writing room. But yeah. And what is it? Your ex-girlfriend is in Counterpart? Good job, buddy. Good job. Something cool is better than canon. That S pisses me off so much. It does. Yeah. Oh, they totally pawn Fard. I think they pawn to the far. Like, no, nothing sexual between Pseudo Spock and the plank of wood. Just no, damn it, no. I don't know. Did anybody else get? Maybe it's something else. I don't know. Hashtag time's up Spock. He me too'd Michael and felt this weird emotion shame. Oh my. Oh my. Okay. Got a couple super chats to get to. £2 from Patty at Large. STD equals crap. Expanse equals best sci-fi ever. Yes, absolutely. Michael Burnham is not the best black female first officer on television. That is Naomi Nagata. Thank you, sir. Peter Davison, $10 Australian. Hail, Peter. Mother is mother. Oh, your mom is 86 tomorrow. Happy birthday. Happy birthday, Mrs. Davison. Oh man. Yeah, she tell her she looks great for 86. Yeah, we give her our best. Everybody say happy birthday to Mrs. Davis. 86. 86 is the new 36. Tell her that. Daniel, $10. I'm more interested in Gary's vision for Trek than this drivel. If you had to make a modern Trek with the show's new effects, when would you set it? Would it be a setup? Be the setup and mission? I'll be quick about this. I'm gonna have to borrow a little bit from my friend Anti-Trekker. You would go forward, stop with the prequels. One of the things I never considered, but I got a props to Anti-Trekker for bringing this up. The tech would be godlike if you went too far forward. So I would only go, like say 15 years past Next Generation. You couldn't have any interaction with those ships, or if you did, you'd have to de-age the characters a little bit. But I would just straight up do another 5-year mission. Go and just do that. And good cast, good actors. Get Ronald D. Moore to write it. I would get Ronald D. Moore to write it. No centering around wars. No, just bring it back to Trek and just modernize everything as much, but you can modernize stuff without it looking too modern. I forgot the name of the Star Trek fan film that did a great job with that. No, you can't make everything look like it did in the 60s. Christ, no. But you can keep the tone of the series. I think the new template, I'm not the first nor the last to say this. The new template for any one of these legacy shows is Cobra Kai. You could maybe even, I don't know. It depends because we're so far away from Star Trek, The Next Generation. We're 25 years away from the end of that show. I cannot believe that. Maybe make it 25 years, but I would go just on a 5-year mission, get back to basics with that, but just with good writers, because it doesn't matter. Premise doesn't matter. You know, everybody wants to make everything Game of Thrones and dark. You know, I wouldn't go Orville. I wouldn't make it funny. But I would try to make it a little more, I don't know. One of the problems I had with Burnham Trek later on is it did have a bit of a stick up its butt towards the end, although I appreciate it so much more now that after I see Star Trek Discovery. I'm an original series fan, so I would always have like wouldn't have to have like a swashbuckling captain, but I would have that character. I think that character, and it could be male or female, but that, you know, the lovable rogue. But no, just follow a crew on a 5-year mission. I'm a simple man. That's all I need. And you know, go from there. Go from there. I like stories with overarching stuff, but I would start off with one-off episodes on that one. But I'll link it in the description when this is a video. Anti-Trekker did a video plotting out his Trek. It's really good. I'll put that in there. He's a friend of the show. He's a good guy. Mild Peril, 2 pounds. Nothing to say, just happy to be here. Well, I'm happy you're here too. Joel Tomburo, $5. Thank you for the 2 pounds, Mild Peril. I appreciate it. If Burnham lectured me, I would respond, didn't you start the Klingon War and cause millions of deaths? That's why nobody should listen to the psychopath. Yeah, can we talk about how the crew is concerned about their trust issues with the captain, and thousands of their fellow Federation officers and people who weren't even part of the Federation, innocent lives, women and children, are dead. Millions are dead. Probably billions are dead. And they came to an armistice. That Michael Burnham, so the war, she ended the war she started and got an award for it. How does that work? And she did it with a fake detonator and convinced 9 Klingons to stop fighting. And now Laurel is in charge, you know, because it's Time's Up Trek. And I have to point out they're going very Doctor Who with the one a-hole in it was the white guy. What the hell did they do to this version of Trek? Alex Brown, I don't know. Did you guys see that the short Treks are available in Europe now? You don't need to watch them. I'm guessing. One insider said that they were just given to him. They just gave it up. That sounded bad. Why would you try to teach Spock empathy? It's not like he's cold as ice. He just doesn't let emotions drive him. And Star Trek isn't about action, damn it. No, it's not. And Spock is half human. So he was born with it. It's part of his DNA. It's, hey, there's a lot of humans who aren't very, empathetic, but we're born with it. So teaching them how is a child going to teach another child? Well, I'm sorry. It's Michael Burnham. She was born perfect. All praise Michael Burnham. Holy shit. Michael Burnham can do everything. Nihilist Shadow. She can. Vulcans need to be taught things like empathy. When soap opera writers are writing your show, yes. I mean, look, it's the exact same as Doctor Who. When there are good moments, and listen, there's good moments even in the worst crap, okay? But when there are decent moments, we'll say, it's the dramatic character interaction, the simple soap opera-y stuff, because they're playing to their strengths. But when they have to like have space pods flying through an asteroid field, we have people looking at each other and talking to them. It's like people driving a car in a 70s TV show. And they were just sitting there talking to each other the whole time. Lens flare. They dialed down the lens flare. She is Ray. Yeah, she is a freaking Mary Sue. I invite anybody from IO9 or Wired or whatever. I'll give you an hour. Change my mind. Michael Burnham is a Mary Sue. Change my mind. Do it. Jet Reno, thank you. Marlon Rando. That's a good name. Burnham, the captain that can do anything. The new Chuck Norris for the SJW. She is the SJW Chuck Norris. She is. She lectures her new captain like after she just meets him. And she does it with that cock head thing. It's like, oh. Is STD there in STD there is no religion because everyone has to realize Mikey Spock is God. Yeah, the Red Angel was just trying to get to her God. She was like, "Hey, you're God. Aren't we supposed to work for you?" Yeah. So Burnham pulled a Chris Pine from Star Trek 2009. Yes. Mikey Spock is the superest, bestest human ever. Says D. Panzik. Yes. Oh my God. Was the humor in post? LOL. That's good. Yes, Mako, I will be doing the Orville next. As a matter of fact, when I wrap up here, I'm going to watch the Orville and I'll be right back on live and we can talk about a good show. Simon Marino. Lieutenant Connolly is the typical white guy joke butt. Yep, that's what he was. Stephen Walton. Sarek wanted Spock to learn empathy. Do these people even know Trek? I wrote that so hard on my notes, I almost ripped the paper. Discovery is the franchise's Ghostbusters 2016. It is. It really is. And God, it's just this pattern repeats again and again and again. Definition of insanity. This is just the definition. Listen, I understand CBS's the predicament they're in. Okay. They put a lot of money into this. They thought they hired the right people. They put a lot of trust in them and they got a turd. So what else could they do? They had to renew it. It's their streaming service relies on this show. So they're just going and now they're like, we're going to green light a bunch of shows or we're going to put shows in development and hopefully one of them sticks. But these shows are in development. That does not mean they're actually happening. That means they might happen. It all depends on the success of Star Trek Discovery Season 2. I'm interested to see what the reviews are from websites that aren't owned by CBS. Yeah, I'm gonna buy $5 to watch lectures, right? Alex Brown will feel bad for the poor people in the UK who pay their taxes to watch lectures with Doctor Who. Oh, I'm sorry. That is sexist to point that out. Oh well. Oh, totally. The kind of person with the "can I see the manager" haircut? Ooh, says Robin ZZ. That was good. That was good. Would Mikey like Mikey? Oh, she would love it's like being John Malkovich. Mikey Spock, Mikey Spock, Mikey Spock, Mikey Spock. 5 to 10 seconds at 4 to 5G vertically typically leads to tunnel vision and the loss of consciousness. Fighter jets can pull up to 9G vertical. Sounds legit. Right. At I believe it's 10 Gs, you get no oxygen to your brain and you die. So yeah, I don't know. I think they might have looked at the same article I did. I Googled it real quick. I paused the show. I Googled it real quick. I read something and it said it's possible. So they probably, and of course, they couldn't have said 8 Gs or 7 Gs. They had to say 9, the maximum, because she's the bestest ever. Michael is a unisex name. I had a teacher. I had a female teacher, my drafting teacher, and in junior high was named Michael. Frack. I will say Frack. You're right. Okay, I'm gonna get down here. The Doctor 14 Blu-ray reviews. Thank you for the £2. No question. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate it. And hey, this live stream is for you guys. So I'll go a few more minutes. And this is what we're going to do from here on out. We're going to do 45 minutes to an hour live stream. And then I'm going to do a review video where I'll break it down where I can, God, I got to watch it twice. That sucks, but I'll do it. And I'll break it down and I'll look for, major canon violations. I'm sure there was some I missed. But that's where we're doing that for Orville as well. We're going to do 45 minutes to an hour live for Orville. Then we'll do a video later because I don't need sleep. The Big Red Bear Nerdrotic Channel. I wonder how long they're going to leave the franchise to rot after this abomination gets canceled. I don't think long. Well, it depends. It depends. Yeah, let me back up on that statement. Pump the brakes on that one. If they lose a ton of money, which they might, it'll be a while. And worst case scenario is like the Orville and Star Trek Discovery fail, which would suck. But I think the Orville reviews aren't as bad as I thought they were. It's just in the demo, but I don't think that really matters. So I'll talk about that on the Orville. And of course, we're never going to hear anything about this. But I guarantee you they're not good, because if the subscription numbers were good, we'd be hearing about it. Don't you think that would help with your stock? I don't know what CBS stock is, but if you actually had record numbers of subscribers, Netflix throws out a number once in a while. The Big Red Bear, $5 Canadian dollar super chat. Thank you so much. I got to get my window up here. How long? Oh, I already read that. And that was a super chat. There you go. Thank you for the Canadian $5. The Big Red Bear. You're awesome. John T-Net. Hail, John T-Net. What is up, my friend? I'm going to get my notes out of here. Thank you for the 400 Hong Kong dollars. You rock. Thanks for taking the hit for us, Gary. Luckily, I don't get to watch it, even if I wanted to. Don't. This was an hour long. You could pay taxes, twist the muse, have sex with your partner for the first 3 minutes, and then for the rest, you could smoke cigarettes or whatever you do. Go to the DMV. I don't know. Thank you so much. Lloyd, $5. You saved me $5 and I'd rather give it to you than CBS. Oh, thanks, Lloyd. Simply Lloyd. Oh, thank you very much. I will try to be more entertaining than Star Trek Discovery. Although honestly, that's not very hard. I could just walk out of the room and you guys could look at my action figures and that would be more entertaining. I should play a contest with you guys. Did you guys, whoever notices next live stream what action figures I changed, you win a no prize. Oh wow, look at this silhouetted animator. What's up, buddy? Did you hear WB originally wanted to have Aquaman hit on Mira and make sexist jokes in the original version of Aquaman movie? Zack Snyder actually worked with Wan to have it cut. I did not hear that. That's probably, okay, what sexist jokes? I am a person. Okay. I think humor should have no bounds. You should be able to joke about absolutely everything. I think that's the only way we get past everything is you just make everything funny. Yeah, that's weird. Star Trek, the apology series coming soon. Well, there was a bit of an apology in this episode. We had a roll call. How'd you like that? There was a freaking roll call in there. So that was a direct answer to one of everybody, the criticism. Nobody knew who the crew was. And honestly, I didn't write down the names. So I'll know it by the video. But they did a roll call. So they acknowledged some stuff. I got to give them to that. Gary is going to have PSTD by the end of the season. I will. My therapist will be very happy. Well, I have a sponsor. I have an AA sponsor. So tune in next week. And Michael Burnham plays basketball with photon torpedoes. This is Jolton, bro. Yes. And she beats the Harlem Globetrotters by herself with photon torpedoes. And she lectures them while she's playing. Orville is on right now at my house. Boo, gonna have to pull it up and watch it. Yeah, I'm about to go watch it right now too. I'm gonna read a couple more chats, and then you guys can just jump back on for the Orville. Does that sound cool? Does that sound all right? What's up, man of action? I miss George Carlin. I do too. That looks like a random statement, but no, I actually think that every couple days. I miss that man so much. He was so good for humanity. And honestly, things have gotten worse since he died. I'm just saying, look at that's the power of math. High five. Uh, there was a roll call. There was an actual roll call. Yeah. A couple more chats here. Damn, a lecture while playing basketball. You go, girl. Looking forward to season 2 of Happy. Simon Marino, I am too. It is going to be brilliant. That is a great show. Happy is a great show. A roll call. Well, if they can't be bothered to write actual characters, I guess they will have to do that. Yeah, Jeffrey Grimm. We went through an entire season without knowing most of these people's names. I mean, that says it all. I mean, that really says it all. And the fact that I mean, I would have left out the roll call because that was pretty much admitting your mistake. Deadly Class was good. CTO Jonathan, we covered it. Go check on my channel. I already covered the first. Doomcock's head's going to freaking explode in the first 5 minutes. I promise you. I've already checked on him. Operation Sky Pebble says this is getting a season 3 because the brainwashers are normalizing this crap for the normies. I can't argue with you on that one. I think it's gonna get a season 3. I do. If it gets like even a wink of success, I don't know. I have a feeling. I've got a bad feeling. I don't know if I can cover season 3, to be honest with you. Just got in, was watching Orville. Good episode. Hey, Loquacious Primate, I'm about to bounce out and go watch the Orville and then do a review on the Orville. So why don't you guys join me then? I did not see Roswell. So I will be back next week. I don't know if Star Trek Discovery is always going to have priority over Orville. It depends on the response to this video. I would rather watch the Orville. I don't know. Maybe it's better to watch it last, kind of cleanse the palate. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But I reserve the right to switch the times. So everybody, you have a great night, and go to nerdrotic.com for the live schedule. And please join me in about an hour for the Orville recap with Susan. Susan will be here with me. So everybody who did see the show, I'm sorry. We made it. There's only 13 more to go. I think we can do this. Hey, I made it through a Doctor Who season 11 and Star Trek Discovery season 1. So we can do this. We can do this. You make a game out of it. We can count how many times somebody, affirms Michael Burnham. We can count how many times she fixes something. We can count how many times she lectures somebody, and we can look forward to her making Spock, because Spock is just a hot mess, but Michael Burnham's going to fix it. All right, everybody. See you for the Orville. May the small folks sing songs of greatness.